I sometimes get ungrateful in my life. I sometimes don't value the people in my life. We're so freaking blessed, but sometimes we lose that perspective.
All we needed to hear was that.
Yes.
That's when the ship turned around. We're evolving. Leadership is changing. I'm pushing you to another level.
You don't necessarily have to go to church. You don't necessarily have to believe a certain way that everybody believes. If you're working on yourself and you're working on your relationship with God, your relationship with you and God is between you and God.
What's up, guys? We're welcome back to the Young CEO podcast. Been waiting on to do this podcast for a long time. You guys can't wait. I got Kolton Kropf, and then I got one of the Macklin twins, Evan.
Let's go.
All the way down from Arizona.
Come on, baby.
And to pour into our team on sales training, leadership, on how to live the best life. Evan, take it away.
Yeah, man. Well, number one, I'm just fired up to be here. This is my third time in DeKalb, Texas. I'm thinking about just getting a home out here in the paradise valley of DeKalb, Texas, just because I love being around you guys. You guys are some of my favorite clients, not just because you're studs and you're friggin' handsome as shit, but you guys are so growth-minded. Your team is on fire. You guys are just giving it all you got in every area of life. Although Colton's been bullshitting on the gym here and there. I'm just proud of you guys, man. So when I get down here, it's honestly fulfilling for my soul because it's like, we pour so much into all of our clients and a lot of them do really well, but but I really get a good value exchange from you guys. And when I say that, it's like, we're always talking about how to grow each other, grow our businesses. And we're so stirred up on it that it's just like, it's like fireworks every time we get around each other. So I'm just fired up.
Yeah. Cause I remember the first time we met both your brother, Ian, and both of you at the Limitless event in Utah. It was all five of us. And then I don't think Ian got our number. And then he texted me. It was probably the hardest $9.97 that Ian ever charged my card. But I can just go back to that moment because that moment changed my life because we went out to the Lion's Den and I'd never seen anything like it. Like camaraderie, the team. Yeah. I can't remember that moment of, I didn't want to give him that card. Yeah. I didn't want to give him because I'm nobody's going to sell me.
Yeah, he said, he said that. He said, closing you guys was hard to do.
But me and him both came out there. We did the workout. I mean, it kicked our asses. Yeah. We went in there, life-changing events. Life-changing events. And then we made we spent a couple six figures with you guys. Yep. And then we decided, hey, we want to invest now back into our team.
Which I closed you on.
Yeah.
So that you did. So Ian had the problem with the 997, but I didn't have a problem with a couple $100K. Come on.
Yeah. But when you guys came down, you came down in April.
It was a team effort too.
Yeah. You came down in April because I seen something that I wanted, right?
Yes.
I already had an 8-figure business. I already had everything, but we didn't have the team.
Well, I think that, a lot of the times when it comes down to self-development, personal development, or just growing in general, I think where you guys were at, the reason why it was initially hard for you to make that investment is number one, first you had to be able to trust that who we were is we had something that we could deliver that you hadn't seen or you didn't have yet. And for you guys, you were also in a place where it would have been easy to be comfortable and to be like, I don't have any problems, or like a little ego or a little entitlement. And there was probably a little bit of that there on your part, for real. But I think you guys have also been so growth minded. That's why you're so young. And that's why you have such a badass thriving business that you said, okay, I'm going to try it out. And when you got down there, you saw something that you had never seen out of any other influencers, let's just say, or any other coaches or speakers. And you saw people who were talking about leadership and team and personal excellence and fitness and sales at a level that you hadn't seen before. And then you're like, holy shit, if I want to create that back in the tiny home space, in the modular home space, we'll be unstoppable. And then we developed that bond. And by the way, if you want to go out there and sell more higher ticket programs or anything that's worth higher value, whatever it is that you're selling, if you're going to go out there and sell those things, you're going to have to start to solve bigger problems. So Kyler and Kolton came down and they saw that we truly live by what we talk about. We don't just learn it, we live it. I would underline those two things. We don't just learn something. You're not just going to learn something on this podcast. There's a difference between learning it and living it, right? So Kolton and Kyler came down And then you guys saw what we do. And then you were like, man, if we can go back home and live this way, we could disrupt the industry. And that's literally what you guys have done.
Yeah, freaking blowing it up.
Like, you guys are killing. You guys are like, bro, I mean, I've had companies reach out like, what are these guys doing? How from your industry? And I'm like, bro, dude, do you really want to know, or are you just asking? Because if you really want to know, they're psycho competitors. They're willing to put the money, the time, and the energy and the stuff you're not probably willing to do. And I'm just being honest with you. It's going to take a lot to build an unrecruitable, badass, solid sales team like you guys have, and the culture you guys have with the $5 million facility that you guys have that nobody has, because you're doing shit that other people aren't willing to do. So you're getting the results that people aren't getting. And that's what people don't understand. So that's why I'm here to talk about.
The best thing I think is always, most people have the answers, but it's always in the work they're trying to avoid, not doing, which is what, all we needed to hear was that.
Yes.
And once we started doing the work that we actually knew that we were avoiding, that's when the ship turned around.
Got caught up.
Yeah. Well, called out and up.
Yeah. All of it.
And I get called out every day.
Well,
So I've learned to just take it.
Well, dude, you guys have called me out too. Like, we've called each other out on plenty of things. And that's why we have such a good relationship. Like, bro, some of the stuff that I've implemented in my business that I've learned from you guys, literally, you guys have changed my life. And I'm eternally grateful for you. And the stuff that I've done with you guys, it sets my soul on fire, because I get to hear the messages and the testimonials from you and your team. But none of that stuff even starts if you're not okay with change. And the way that you be okay with change is you be okay with freaking truth and honesty. Mm-hmm. And the hardest part right now in the world is people aren't okay with truth and honesty. And then the other hardest part in the world right now is people, when they hear truth and honesty, or let's just say this, if they hear an opinion that's not their opinion, like Republicans versus Democrats, or this versus this or that, like, everybody just hates each other.
Yeah.
And they don't just like listen and sit down and figure out like what they can learn from each other. And we're always learning from each other, even though Kolton is a Joe Biden guy. Like, I still love him. I'm a Donald Trump guy. Kolton's a Joe Biden guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if the viewers knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kolton, talk about why you like Joe Biden. I'm just joking, guys. Like, calm down, everybody out there, unless you like him.
Talk about
if you're from Texas, you're most likely a Trump guy.
Yeah, you would be beaten.
Talk about because we're in a company where, like, every day that something changes, we're changing, we're evolving, leadership is changing. I'm pushing you to another level. Talk about being, like, knowing your true self, knowing your true numbers, the great separator. Like, why do people not want to be honest with themselves of actually that they might be the problem?
Bro, because it's the hardest thing to do is admit that you have a problem. That's why addiction consumes people's life, and addictions and distractions and stuff consumed my life for years, because I never wanted to admit that I was the problem. It's so much easier to admit that everybody else is the problem. It's so much easier to live in denial. And that's the hardest part in coaching. And it's the hardest part. And I mean, it's just the hardest part in life, right? It's just like getting people to understand that, like, the biggest growth that you're ever going to see is just looking in the mirror and owning your shit. And then once you own your shit, like, just doing the work to fix it every single day. And so the great separator is doing the work. If I was going to say what is the great separator, it's confronting the work that like Kolton said, that, you haven't been willing to do. But then, like, if we were going to confront the work, then you'd have to, like, back it up with an unreasonable level of dedication towards fixing some of the holes. And when you can do that, and you can do that on the test days, and you can do that during the holidays, and you can work out on the holidays and during Thanksgiving when everybody's eating and getting fat, when you can, commit to being a good person, even when some of the people around you aren't being good, or they're not riding with integrity, but you want to ride with integrity, or you want to have high character, but they're not riding with high character. Like, when you do those things throughout, like, a season of your life when other people aren't doing them, that's what separates you. So it's like, holidays are coming up. Do you stick to your diet? Do you do all the right things that you committed to? Or do you not? And then you regret it, because guys like me, we stick to what we say. We do what we're going to say. And then over 10 years time, that's why Kobe kicked everybody's ass, because the great separator for Kobe was there was no off season. There was no off season. His season started the day after he won the championships. His season, he still did the 2-3 days in the summertime when everybody was taking the damn day off. So then when the rookie of the year would come into the freaking league to try to take him out, you couldn't do it, bro, because he's been doing this for 10 years. That's how I feel about my sales career. You couldn't mess with me if you tried. The reason being is because I'm so skilled. I'm so tactical. I'm not, and I know it sounds egotistical, but the truth is I'm proud of my skill. And I'm also then proud of my entrepreneurs like you guys who are doing the work every single day, and their team is. And if you do that over years, not months, but years, like you guys are 23 years old, 23 and 22.
23, 25.
25, right? Like, bro, in the next 5 years, when you turn 30, in the next 7 years, when the other one turns 30, and you've done what you guys are doing down here, I don't even think you will be, the great separator will just be in the modular home space. I honestly think you guys are like the next big thing in just the entrepreneur space. Because I don't see a lot of guys that think and operate and do like you guys and also operate with their heart on their sleeve like you guys. So it's crazy, but that's truly the great separator.
What was that deciding fact? Like you were a car salesman, but now you're in the space where you're transforming people's lives. Like you're totally taking them from a life they hate to a life they get to live.
Yeah.
What is a good human person? What does someone have to do in order for them to live their best life? What did you have to do? You used to make a lot of money. You were the number one salesperson. Like, what do you got to do?
Well, there's a simple answer and a complicated answer. The real true answer, I should say, because I could give you like one little vanilla tip and it might make you do something that would change. But the truth is you're not keeping your word. In most cases, most of the people out there, if they just started committing to the word that they said, like, listen, if you said you were going to get in really good shape and get in elite condition, but every 3 months you go backwards and you start eating the bullshit, you lie to yourself. Your self-esteem goes down. Your self-confidence goes down. You know it. I know it. Same thing in sales. Same thing in building a team. You said you were going to treat that team that you were going to build with the most love and the most, you prayed for that team, right? And then you get them and they're annoying, or you're only, interested in coaching your top producers and not your bottom producers because they're pissing you off. Well, you forgot what you forgot what you wanted to do, And so I guess the simplest answer would be like, just start keeping your word, man. Like for real, keep your word. Old school shit. Keep your word. And then the next thing I'd say is just be present wherever you're at. Like I'm here with you guys. I'm just thinking about ripping this podcast and ripping this mic off and beating Kolton with it. That's all I'm thinking about right now. And when I get home, I'm just going to think about my kids. And when I get to the gym, I'm just going to freaking think about, ripping a dumbbell off and beating Kyler with that dumbbell, even though he won't be in the room, but I'll still be thinking about it.
Yeah. So you're talking about a topic that people, they miss a lot of times because they're at work and they think about home.
Yeah.
They're at work or they think about vacation.
Easy
but then
to
when
do.
they get to vacation, they think about, work and everything they could have done. Like, how can someone be where their feet are? What is, if you're like, let's say you're at work and you're in sales.
Yeah.
And you want to be $1 million producer, or you want to be $1 million earner.
Yeah.
What does that person have to do? What does it truly mean to be where your feet are?
Dude, I think it's like self-awareness and self-mastery are the most important things that you can have. So like for me, for example, like if I know for a fact my phone is a problem and I'm coming home and I got to spend time with my kids, I'm going to put my phone intentionally in a spot where I'm not going to use it and I'm going to be present with them for 45 minutes, an hour. Like that's just intentional, right? Like there's just coming up with an idea and then there's implementing intention behind it. So like I'm going to just be intentional about that's a problem. It's a problem for my wife when I come home and I'm on my phone. Like that happens in my life. And by the way, this is a daily thing, right? We're human beings. We're made to be broken. We're made to be lost. The last thing I want anybody on this podcast to think is like we're perfect and like we don't struggle with the same insecurities, the same bad habits, the same low limiting beliefs, the same self-sabotage and imposter syndrome. Bro, we all have it. The difference is some of these people start making decisions to change it and be intentional. So just be intentional and just create like a little system around it. Like if you go to work and you get distracted because you have all these apps on your phone, delete the freaking apps.
Yeah.
For 90 days and see what happens. See if you like it.
See if your life gets better. Yeah.
Right? Like
what's the worst that can happen?
Like we just overcomplicate stuff. Go back to like how shit was, 50, 60 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like just look, bro, like we didn't have technology. Sometimes it complicates shit. Maybe you need to get rid of some of that. Some people are looking, Kolton, to like add things onto their life when maybe they should just subtract a couple things. Stop trying to add everything into your life and subtract some things.
Right. Focus on those.
Subtraction.
That's
Yeah.
good.
You
That's
guys,
good.
you guys know that I was talking to Kolton the other day, and we were talking about growing your assembly line and growing all the stuff, and we were talking about how Elon Musk was talking about every time he comes up with a new product, instead
He
of
eliminates two things.
building more out to the
More
process, he
processes.
eliminates two things when he's growing these massive facilities. Why? Because he's subtracting versus
Right.
adding on.
Keeping it more simple than making it more complicated.
Yeah.
Because you can simplify everything, but it takes a person that can take something complicated to make it into something simple. Where
Yeah.
everybody understands it.
Yeah.
It takes a special kind of person to do that.
Yeah.
And not every day that, you see a person that, maybe, and this is what I like about you, is you see something that I think is complicated, and to you, it's just like simple. Like
You're the same way though.
but you see something so, like, to me, I'm banging my head against the wall.
Yeah,
Like, dude,
but
I
bro,
can't figure this out. Like, I
Yeah,
can't figure
but
this
dude,
out.
you're the same way. Like I talked to you on the phone and I'm like, what did you just talk about, bro? Like you just went through all this, it's so funny hearing you on the phone when you're fired up in your element and you're talking about like finances and numbers and taxes and this laws and this and this. And I'm like, and you have a good way of explaining it. Like I'm telling you, Kyler's the same way in so many areas. So we're the same, we're just different, which is what I was talking about. Like we collided and now we're like this really cool team, but we're like different in a lot of areas. We have different backgrounds. We come from totally different atmospheres. Like we are totally different.
Yeah.
If you stacked us up next to each other, totally different, but we're successful, we're killing it, and we're riding together because we also still like have similar core values, or the same really.
I think it comes down to leadership. It comes down to who you are.
Yes.
Like all this relationship, we've known each other for over a year now.
Yeah.
We're all growing at this,
Do we have an anniversary? We should have an anniversary.
1 year.
You guys should send me like little presents on our 1 year anniversary. I'll do it too, bro. We'll do. It'll be back and forth. Damn, look at their. I hope you guys got that on camera. They're blushing right now. Man, they just love your boy Evan.
I'll have to send you something.
All right, good.
Can't let Ian out.
Yeah, no, you got to send Ian something too.
No, but we sent you that merch like the first time we met you.
Yeah.
You've been wearing that merch like ever since.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been,
I rep it. I send you guys picture in the
Yeah.
merch all the time.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys have taken a lot of about what we do with our team and our culture, and you've implemented it. And it's funny because I have other clients that follow you that are now my clients, that you guys either referred or they saw your social medias because your social medias kill it. And and they're doing what you guys are doing. And so it's like, yeah, the Elliott Group is like a source of like a seed that kind of motivated this like little movement that you guys got going on, and our movement. And then like the Titan Roofing guys and a bunch of other guys, and Chris Elrod and his team and those guys and what he's doing over there.
Plunges.
Yeah, they're changing everything, and he brought his whole team out, and they're and it's like his life is changing. It's like, bro, he wouldn't have did that, had he probably not seen some validation through you guys. And so it's like
that it's working.
Yeah, well, and like you guys are working and you're motivating other people, that have bigger businesses and other ones that have smaller businesses. So it's what life's about.
So, you're in the coaching world and you see all kinds of different clients and people at all different stages. What's the main denominator on each? What's the main problem that you see that people are in their head? If they just got this one thing, they could see significant change in less than 30 days.
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a really good question, Kolton. Dude, he's the smarter brother out of the two for sure. Kyler's way better looking, but Kolton is freaking sharp, bro. I'm just telling you. But Kyler, you hang around him and you just feel cooler. Kolton, you hang around him and you feel smarter. It's like, damn, it's like that's what me and Ian are too, I don't know which one I am though. So I guess the common denominator would be, the common denominator that, are you asking like the one that I like to see out of people the most, or are you asking like the one that would make people grow the most?
When they come in, like their biggest problem that you see in today's world?
Well, the biggest problem is always going to be people. It's just always going to be people. And that's a very like broad thing to handle because it's belief, it's identity, it's communication skills, it's sales skills, it's leadership skills. So it's always people. I mean, everything comes down to people. But the biggest problem in people is just their self-leadership. Like if you want to be a great salesperson, you have to be a great leader, because you're going to have to lead people through a process, a set of systems, a set of triggers and this and emotions and this. But like, you can't get people to experience what you're not experiencing. So the best salespeople in the world can influence. And the skill of influence, it's not about what you say, it's about how you said it and how you believe in what you said. So if I'm going to influence you, like if you're on this podcast right now and you feel like, man, this guy's got some passion and energy, or like this guy's got some belief, or I like it, or maybe you don't, it's okay. But you can't fake sincerity, and you can't fake like somebody truly caring. So in order to do that, you'd have to truly care about yourself, and you'd have to be in progress in your fitness, your finances, your health, and all the things that, you know, that are important to you. And if those aren't important to you, I guarantee you you're out of alignment. And that's probably why you're a negative little shitty poopy pants and you need to wake your ass up. That's probably a problem. But self-leadership. So what would you do? You would do what we said, which is keep your word, write down exactly who you want to become. Like Matthew McConaughey said, in 5 years from now, who do you want to become? That's your new mentor. What would that person tell you to do today? What would they tell you for real? Not just like some sexy Instagram. That's like one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten. What would you 5 years from now tell you to do? Would they tell you to work out better? Would they tell you to treat your wife more, like with more love? Would they tell you to treat your team a certain way? Would they tell you to invest in certain skill sets and mindsets? Okay, once you can do that and you become your own self-leader, people will want to be around you more. Your clients will want to be around you more. If you're running a team, your team will finally not feel like you're a hypocrite telling them to do stuff that you're not willing to do, but you're actually living it, not learning it. Once this happens and this process of self-leadership is going down, then you can start to build other leaders in your life, because you're a leader. Once you've built other leaders, those leaders can build other leaders. That's how an organization's built. That's how a movement's built. That's how Andy Elliott's movement is built. Because if you notice in our company, if you come in, you see savage self-leaders. Like, how crazy is our team from top to bottom?
Insane.
Like,
And it's the small details that set you guys apart.
bro,
It's not nothing just major. It's like these 100 different small things that Andy is trained on and that you guys have implemented.
yes, because he's doing it, because he did it. He can't tell you to go do something that he's not doing, right? So then we've done it, and now we've built these layers, and that trickles off in your families, that trickles off into your clients, it trickles off into a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. So it's like self-leadership is the biggest key. You gotta get better at that.
So where do people get like self-leadership? Where do you start? Like, do you start watching YouTube videos? Do you start looking at a conference?
Why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do this? Go look in the mirror and talk to yourself about the shit that you don't like about yourself and start fixing it.
It's a good start.
Simple.
And the other thing that always motivated me is for me to like ask myself if I got to heaven tomorrow, and
Ed Milet
says it very well. If I got to heaven tomorrow and, God took a list of everything that I'd done, but he said, over here, there's a list that I had for you had you made this decision to just do it.
Yes.
And so all of these things over here are stuff that you just weren't willing to go after and accomplish that I had planned for your life just because you were lazy, or you didn't make the decision that I brought to you.
Yes.
So what if you got to heaven and you saw all of the things that you could have accomplished and helped so many more people? How would that make you feel today?
Bro, and I hope people can think that in depth, and I hope people, because I can, and I know you guys can, but I feel that some people won't just simply, like, literally, that's why I said just go look in the mirror, because, like, just think about it for a second. Have you guys ever been working out and not wanted to look yourself in the eye, like in the mirror when you're doing a set? Have you guys, like, ever walked by the mirror and you don't want to look at the mirror? But no, literally, have you in your life ever like looked in the mirror and like truly had a moment in your life where you looked in the mirror and you were disgusted with yourself? Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because I've done that hundreds of times. I've literally been in some of the best shape of my life, or been at times where like I couldn't look up and look myself in the eye. You know why? Because I was lying to myself in a certain area that I knew but nobody else knew. You know what I'm saying? That right there is the moment you change, or you stay the same and you continue down the rabbit hole of not having the right self-belief and the right self-esteem that will become the ultimate, most extreme version of yourself. That is who Andy Elliott is. Bro, that is who he is. I swear to God, if you just simplified it I don't think that Andy, and like in just watching him, because by the way, I don't know Andy. I'm not living in his head, but I know when he looks himself in the eye. By the way, when he looks you in the eye, does he not have the craziest look in his eye?
God.
Why?
He never blinks.
Why, bro? Because
Never blinks.
why? I always think about why do people do what they do, and why are they the way they are, and I'm always backing into everything. Like I'm always backing into it. There's a word called reciprocity. Do you guys know?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Perspicacious, something.
No.
It's like this word.
Go back to like.
It's like,
Did you go to school?
okay, there's this word.
But I have a 6th grade education, but it's not that terrible.
Here, what is it? Here, hold on. I'm about to freaking tell you guys this word. Reciprocity. Perspicacious.
That's not right.
What is it? Let me see. Reciprocity.
It said precipitation. Damn it. I know that there's this word. Okay, I only learned it a couple of days ago. Anyways, think about it like this. When you exchange some money, say like you're in a process and like you're at a coffee shop and you see somebody exchange $10 or you exchange $10 at that coffee shop. Do you look at the environment? Do you look at how they took your money? Do you look at like why you're actually there for that specific coffee? Do you look at those things? Do you back into those things? I back into those things with people all the time, especially the legends like Andy, especially guys like you. I'm like, how did they get here? How are they this old? Why did they do this? How did Kyler come up with, like, how did they come up with this system and process? When I'm recruiting people, I recruited a bunch of guys to your team, but you guys didn't just go with the way that I went. I told you, I got the guys there, and then you created this whole onboarding system and process that was freaking genius. That's one of the reasons why I love doing business with guys like you, because you take what I'm going to do and then you elevate it. That's sick. Okay, I look at that with Andy. I back into his belief and his thoughts and his convictions and stuff like that. His eye contact, the way he walks, the way he maneuvers himself. I'm thinking about that. And then I'm wondering, how can I use that in my game? If I'm a car dealership and you're competing with everybody in the world, you're competing with everybody on this phone, what do my ads look like? What does my point of sale look like? What does this look like? What does this look like? If I'm
my office look like?
I'm competing with Amazon, I'm competing with Apple, I'm competing with everybody. Like, why aren't you looking at why Amazon is so fast and so quick with their services? Is there some things that you could get faster on? You could get more efficient on? Like, you gotta start to look at that shit. And if there's salespeople in your organization that are way better than you, why wouldn't you back into how and why they do it the way they do it? It's like, dude, that is why you guys are dangerous. But people aren't like that for some reason. And it's like, I don't know why. I don't think any of your viewers are, because if you're coming to this podcast, you have to be fired up on going to the next level in your life. But just think about every time you exchange money or every time you make a transaction or a deal, what did that salesperson do to sell you? What does that organization look like? Why do you like the restaurant you go to? Why is she your favorite bartender? What are her jokes? Bro, I do this everywhere I go. I know it's weird. I'm a freaking psycho. Everywhere I go, I walk in a room and I'm sizing people up. I'm like, well, look at his shoes, babe. Look, I bet you he's a doctor. Look what he did. Look at his wristband. Look, babe, he's got one of these like wristbands on that's like it's like it allows him to get in a hospital or something. Look at that. Look at this thing. What's going on? Like, I'm always looking at, I'm like, it's like, fucking, I never turn off, but I love it.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like that though. They think that, you need to shut down.
Or just being very open and talkative when you go into somewhere. Like, I don't think I ever told him the story. I actually was flying home from the Elliott group. It was me, Kyler, and Zeke. I was the first one off.
We had all our Saddlebrook Army shirts
This was the last time I was in Arizona. I get off the plane, and we were like late, DFW, all of that crap. Got rerouted. Don't get me started. We get to this gate. I walk over here, meet this lady. She's in her 60s, and we start hitting it off. Hey, what do you guys do? What do you do? Blah, 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 whatever. Turns out that she is on the board of a nonprofit that needs tiny homes and was looking for a tiny home manufacturer. From 50,000 people at one airport, we singled one person out that she needed our product. So if you're not selling every day, to every person.
Yep.
Your next investor, your next
Right
customer
there.
could be right
Competitor
beside you.
second is gonna.
But you're never even going to say hello because you're too scared of what that person
Bro,
thinks.
well, think about it with us, with you little crazy fuckers, man. Like, I'm trying not to say the F word too, by the way, but like,
Yeah, this is a
we're working on it. Sorry,
Christ-centered
blur that one
podcast
out.
over here.
Listen, dude, you
Don't
guys
talk
came
out.
running up to us. Ian and I were walking through the crowd in Limitless, and you guys came running up to us and attacked us with like 10 of the sales team or something. And I'm like, what the heck is going on with
And we
these
all
guys?
had the same
You
stuff.
guys just out twin the twins.
Yeah.
It's like,
We all had the SB shirt. I still have the old picture, but
Yeah.
yeah.
and like you said, bro, you're one handshake away from a new season.
Yeah.
And it's just like, people don't want to talk to people unless they have like, like they know what they're going to get out of it. Like, divorce yourself from the outcome. Like, who cares what you're going to get out of it, bro?
Divorce yourself from the outcome.
Yeah. Who cares?
What if to even if
Who cares if you're going to get a sale out of it or a deal out of it? What if you just gave so much good energy and good frequency
Yeah.
that like you get more friends and you start to grow more relationships?
Yeah. Going on a deeper level, who do you think going into or last quarter, and there's a lot of young entrepreneurs, a lot of young companies that listen to this, or people that want to get in business, or companies that have been in business for a long time. What kind of mindset do we need going into the fourth quarter?
The fourth quarter, you go into the fourth quarter just like you go into the freaking Super Bowl. You go in there ready to step on some necks and like choke the freaking competition out. Like, for real. You go in there not ready to compete. You go in there ready to freaking dominate. You get your team together and you talk to them about the first 3 quarters did not freaking matter. Doesn't matter what kind of money they made in the first 3. Doesn't matter if they had the worst year of their life. Fourth quarter is where the heroes are made. This is where the legends operate. Okay. And so like, you actually get your people together and you have a real freaking pep talk and you have a real sit down and you have a real rolled out game plan where you're going to step up your own level, self-leadership, and if you're a salesperson on the other end of this, you change your perspective on whatever your year was. Maybe you had the biggest year of your life. It's time to go back to 0. If you go to sleep on a win, you'll wake up with the loss. Go into it, changed and ready to go. I got the best freaking perspective in the world. I'm ready to go kill, with love and kindness too, but I am also aggressive. I also operate out of a state of madness. Like, you got to be like ready to rock. So, bro, treat it like a sport. Treat it like a basketball game. You don't finish strong, you don't win. Mm-hmm. Treat it like a football game.
I have a question on a deeper level, and I think this might cause you to think a little bit. How do you, in today's world, take the kingdom mindset?
Yeah.
Bring Jesus into the marketplace.
You walked in with a Bible, and then we had a good prayer before we started.
How do you have the kingdom mindset, being Christ-centered, but also push your team while not crossing those boundaries? So like cussing, like for instance, like when I know the Elliott group cusses a little bit, and then I know y'all are working on it. But like me and Kyler made a conscious decision that there's no cussing allowed in Saddlebrook.
Yeah.
How do you take the kingdom mindset, mentality, Christ-centered, but still be able to push your team to the next level without cussing them out,
Well,
you get what my question is?
yeah, dude. And I think,
How do you be the light to the world that, this marketplace needs?
Still be passionate.
Customers come in,
yeah.
like maybe they're not saved. Maybe you're that one person that will get them across the line to actually believe in Jesus.
Well, first and foremost, like, you could consider this church. You could consider this a little ministry. It's like, you don't necessarily have to go to church. You don't necessarily have to believe a certain way that everybody believes. Like, I believe that if you're working on yourself and you're working on your relationship with God, your relationship with you and God is between you and God, right? Like I would suggest just communicating with God and communicating with Jesus and praying and like getting, just like anything, it's a skill. So like saying that prayer in front of you guys today, I wouldn't have been able to say that prayer. Like, that's not some like scripted prayer. That was literally me feeling the Holy Spirit. And because I pray all the time, I pray for you guys. I pray I pray a lot, right? So I'm able to just like do that in front of people, whereas like a year ago I wouldn't have been able to do that, and I would have felt really insecure.
Why did you bring, like, let me ask a question. Why did you bring that into your life? Like, why God?
Because I've never felt more fulfilled than I am when I feel like I'm growing in a deeper relationship with God. I've never felt more fulfilled than I am when I'm in my church, doing the right things, living in the word, like living in faith, like living, like really truly like walking in faith. Like I've never felt better. It's so important to me. And I realized how lost I was without even knowing I was lost when I didn't focus on it.
And you thought you had everything.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm not perfect, bro. I'm not perfect. I curse here and there, but I have a good heart. I want to see other people win. I want to see other people do good. Sometimes I get a little passionate and slip up. I would encourage other people to not be judgmental about that. I would encourage other people to be around us if they do judge us as like, and there's some perfect Christians. I think that's the ultimate sin, is to judge
Absolutely.
people. So I think you can be fired up. I think you can carry a different mentality. But I ultimately think like, my biggest, I can only talk about me. And, I got my first Bible the other day, and
Wow.
crazy
Awesome.
thing is like, I've never read the Bible. Like I just liked to go to my church because it made me feel good. And I started to realize I was kind of a feel good Christian. Like I was kind of like a tumbleweed Christian.
Lukewarm.
Yeah. Like here and there I'd roll through church, make me feel good. Like a motivated Christian, but like not a Christian that's like a real true disciple for Jesus. Right. So like I started to like understand. Steve Weatherford came down and talked to us, and nobody's ever really sat down and taught me the word, especially somebody that I really respected, like Steve. Steve tells me to get this Bible, and he's like, you need to read 5 Psalms a day. He's like, I'll give you a training regimen, simple, that you can follow. 5 Psalms a day. There's 150 Psalms in the Bible, so that'll get you through it in 30 days. You'll read 1 proverb a day that corresponds with the day of the month. So then you can get through the whole Proverbs. Just do this. I started reading that. I was on fire. I got the Maxwell Leadership Bible, and bro, like I'm eating that thing up. I'm learning. I'm understanding. So I'm like a baby to Christianity, to be honest with you, but I'm like having so much fun, like becoming a better person. And crazy thing is a couple of days after I got the Maxwell Bible, my wife is 9 months pregnant, and we're going to have a baby anytime. And we decided we wanted to name.
Could be tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be today or tomorrow. Hopefully not, because we're on this trip. God, please let the baby just, come in. We're due in 2 weeks, so we got a little bit of time. But we decided to name our baby Maxwell.
Wow.
And craziest thing in the world, Steve sends me this Bible. So I get the Bible, the Maxwell Bible. I'm reading through it, and I'm like, I look at the Bible name, and it's Maxwell. I don't know if I'm having a son. Maybe I am. If I do, if not, my next son will be Maxwell. And
You guys don't know yet?
no, we don't. So this is, I might be prophesying. Who knows? But then Rob, one of our pastors who's done a lot of praying with me, and he's changed my life. I send him a video, and I'm telling him about how me and my wife decided on a name, Maxwell, and thanking them for all that they've done for us. And then he's got his son on his lap, and his son's name is Maxwell. And I didn't know any of this stuff. And then the Bible and this and that. And I'm just like, man, crazy how God works, man. God's telling me. And he told me so many things about our future. He prayed over my wife's belly about this baby. And as he was praying, her stomach got so warm. And it was like I had x-ray vision through my hand. And I could feel the baby's extremities. And like I could feel what the baby was thinking and all the stuff we were praying in the lion's den. And I was having visions of this little boy growing up to be this really powerful man of God. And that was the day, like I really kind of reevaluated my relationship, and I really decided to start just to learning more. So the next time we talk, I'll be a little bit more spiritually mature, where I could probably unpack it a little bit more for you guys. But for right now, I'm just having fun, like actually going back to the elementary level, because I think scripture it elevates your maturity. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
So what has it changed? Like, speak a little bit of like how much has it changed the L8 group in the last 6 months?
And we'll do that question. We'll do that question, and then
how do you lead your team towards that?
Well, bro, just leading from our core values, and like I'm just starting to lead more with just straight the lessons from the Bible. Like there's really no other book that you need, like for real. Once you really get into it, like everything that's anything good comes from there, like for real. Especially the Maxwell Bible, how he breaks it down, unbelievable. Like, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you. Best freaking...
And John Maxwell.
Yes, and John, yeah, of course. John
Maxwell's the leader.
John is just like unbelievable. And I got a chance to meet John and speak after him at an event one time, and it was unbelievable. And it's just crazy. So just lead from that. Just talk about principles. Have a set of core values that you can coach your team on the core values, so then they know when they're messing up, they're directly related to the core values, and teach them from those set of values, and stick to them. Don't negotiate.
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we end the podcast, I know you got to go and you're trying to catch a flight. What's a couple things, or even one thing that either you could tell someone that's going through a hard time, that's going through like that struggle you used to go through, or something that's not getting them over?
Yeah.
The
devil whispered in your ear, "You can't withstand the storm." And the warrior replied back, "I am the storm. I am the storm. I am the storm. I am the storm." You got to believe deep down in your heart that and change your perspective, that you need these storms to become the person that God meant you to become. Like, you have to start to be thankful for the problems and the things that are in your life. And I know it's the hardest thing to do, and I believe in you, and God believes in you, and my team believes in you. Even if I don't know you, I know what's possible through God, and I also know what's possible through a human being going to a level. And if you're desperate right now, and if your back's against the wall and you're an underdog and you feel like nobody's like we've all been there, and you can't rush the process of success. You got to go through these things in order for you to have a testimony. You have to have the test. Mm-hmm. And like, we've all heard that before, but it's so the truth. So like, if you're out there and you feel lost in the storm, just don't give up, man. Seriously, everything can change in a day. It can change in a week. It can change in a month. Like, you just got to survive. And sometimes surviving is the hardest part. And when you survive it, man, like, it doesn't feel good talking about all the survival stuff that I've been through, but it's so cool when you get to tell the testimony at the very end. Like, you know, when you look back and you're like, man, I was hanging on by a finger, dude.
Yeah.
But me and God, man, I just believed, bro. And I just was able to make it work. And, you know, it's like, just tap in with some people that are positive. Go get helpful if you feel helpless, and that'll change your mindset right away. Go find somebody that's going through some shit that's more deep than you. Like, go, like, if you really, like, listen, if you're going through some shit, listen, if you're really truly going through some stuff, you know, one of the things that I'm currently in the process of doing is building like our community outreach program. And it's like, I'm going to take my team to go help children that are terminally ill and go do things. And like, we do some really good community stuff, but like, I want to, one of the biggest things that I want to go into in the next phase of Evan and the Elliott group is even more extreme helpful living and giving to the people that are really truly in need. Because I sometimes get ungrateful in my life. I sometimes don't value the people in my life. And I'm literally, we've been like, I'm like, bro, we have so much that like we're so blessed with. We are so freaking blessed, but sometimes we lose that perspective. So go find some people in your area that are really, really, really struggling, like at Children's Hospital, some things like that. Find some initiatives that you can help with, and I guarantee you it'll shift your perspective, and you'll be right back in the game. Truly.
That is gold. That is gold.
Truly,
Nugget right there.
I don't normally do this, but I want you to close it out, close the podcast out. This is the Young CEO podcast, but just close it out.
Yeah. Well, it's the Young CEO podcast. So most of you out there, you're either CEOs or you're wanting to be CEOs. And although I'm not a CEO of my business, I work for a really high level CEO. I want to encourage you, those of you that are CEOs out there, to build your culture where your entrepreneurs in your company feel as if their vision can fit inside of your vision. Think so big that a guy like me would want to work for you and would push your vision just like I would with Andy Elliott. You know, if you're a CEO out there, work on that. Work on where you see yourself going, and then be able to build your people up around you where you create levels of leadership and layers in your company where people are winning, and you're changing their lives, and you're changing their family's life, and you're not thinking just with your profit loss statements and your balance sheets, but you're really truly thinking about the people. On the other end of that, if you're somebody out there on the end of this that maybe you hear the word CEO and you don't think that you can become it, look, I'm sitting next to two guys that are on their way to doing something that it's just insane. They're two of the youngest CEOs that I know that are on fire for God. They're on fire for fitness. They're on fire for their life. There's no reason that you can't be that person. No reason. So stop with the bullshit excuses. Figure out a way to get around these guys. Figure out a way to get around some different people that can teach you how to do it. Okay? You can do it. You were made for greatness. You just got to figure out the little weaknesses, the little bitch ass mindsets that are holding you back, and change them. Change them. Figure out the excuses and change them. Figure out the low limiting beliefs and just change them. If you can lead yourself and do these things, there's no reason you can't be a CEO or a massively successful entrepreneur like myself and go out and build something that truly changes legacies and families. And that's what it's all about, is contributing to others and building other people up. So that's all we need to do, man. And if we can do that in our own lives, we can actually change the world.
Awesome. Maxed out. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
God, I'm still counting my blessings.